Hello everyone, and welcome to another video on iGCSE and IB Organic Chemistry. Today we're going to be looking at alkenes. Now, what is special about alkenes? Well, they have a double bond between two carbons, and their general formula is CnH2n. This means for every carbon, there are twice amount of hydrogen. So a typical alkene, which we're going to look at below, is ethene, 2 carbons and 4 hydrogens. Now, these functional groups, the naming ends with "ene," as opposed to "ane," which is the ending for the homologous series of the alkanes. Now, how do we make alkenes in the first place? We've talked earlier that we can get crude oil from the ground, and that is comprised of some long chain alkanes like the one we have here, which is heptane, 7 carbons. To get from an alkane to an alkene, we do a process called cracking. To do this, we need high temperature and a catalyst. And when you perform cracking of a long alkane, you make another alkane and a smaller alkene. So in this case, we go from heptane to pentane and ethene. Okay, so this is how we get alkenes in the first place: high temperature and catalyst. Once we have alkenes, they are quite reactive because of this double bond. There are 4 electrons between the carbons, and this double bond tends to break in order to react with other molecules. For example, ethene can react with bromine. This is a readily available reaction because there's no need for any special conditions. As you can see, what happens here is this double bond breaks and you form 2 individual bonds with the bromine atoms. So we've gone from an alkene to a halogenoalkane, an alkane with a halogen atom or atoms on it. Okay, this is a common test if you have an unknown organic compound to see whether it's an alkene. You put bromine water, which is an orangey color, and if it is an alkene, it will decolorize the bromine water to a clear, transparent liquid. Now, if it's an alkane, this reaction only works if you have UV light. And you can see the previous videos on alkanes for that. Now, you can go from an alkene back to an alkane. To do this, though, you do need some special conditions. You need a nickel catalyst and high temperatures. And you react the 2 gases, ethene and hydrogen, to make ethane. So back to an alkane, if you need to do that. Now, one final reaction of an alkene is to react it with steam, so water. Again, you need some special conditions. You need a high pressure, a high temperature, and phosphoric acid, which is H3PO4. Again, in this reaction, we see this double bond breaks and you add some components to the alkene. So you add the hydrogen from the water and the OH group from the water. So you've ended up making an alcohol, which is another homologous series, which we will talk about in the next videos. All these reactions are called addition reactions. For IB students, I will make a separate video on the mechanism electrophilic addition. But for iGCSE, we call these addition reactions. In all these reactions, what you can clearly see is you add a group onto the alkene. So either water, hydrogen, or a halogen. And in doing so, you break the double bond, reverting back to a single bond between carbons. Okay, so these are the reactions, the typical reactions of alkenes. Thank you very much for listening.